He just asked me to be in the band. He's freaking out on the phone, man, you know. And Miles loved him, man. Between Kenny Garrett and Foley, man, that was the heart of Miles' last stage band. Yeah.
What an era. What an era, man. You just finished, you just came off the stage doing a tribute to David Sanborn.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that you were so involved with him and his musical life, straight to the heart. I mean, come on. What was it like working with David?
It's incredible. He was the first saxophone player I ever met who, when he played one note, everybody in the room's head turned to see who was making that sound, because it was the strongest sound we had ever heard on the saxophone. You know, a lot of saxophone players play smooth. David sounded like he was trying to rip your heart out, you know? And that became like his signature sound. And I heard it when we were auditioning for the Saturday Night Live band. Well, I was auditioning. Dave Sanborn was Dave Sanborn already. They were honored that he would play with them. But me, I was 19, and the drummer who played with us, Buddy Williams, he was already in the band, and he recommended me. So I got the job, and so we were in the band together. And Dave, you know, he was starting out his own career. So during the weekdays, we would do gigs, and he'd have me and Buddy, the drummer, play with him, you know, during the weekdays, and we were opening up for Al Jarreau. And this is when Al Jarreau had all the big hits, We're in This Love Together. So man, we were the opening act, and people just loved this guy, man, because he was just playing his heart out every night. I started giving Dave cassettes of my music, little songs that I was writing, and he liked them. And we went to the studio, recorded them. He recorded like 4 songs the first time out, and we developed this relationship. He won a Grammy off of the first song that I wrote for him.
Oh my God.
So he said, this is a good thing, you know. And I didn't even know what a Grammy was. I was 19. I was just like, okay, Grammy, somebody's grandmother? What is that? You know? Anyway, man, that's like 1979, and I was working, producing, and writing for him all the way up to last year. You know, so it was a beautiful relationship. There was one point in the 80s when I had access to the most distinct voices in music. I had R&B side, I had Luther Vandross writing for him. On the pop side, I had David Sanborn playing pop instrumentals, and then I had Miles Davis playing jazz. Y'all couldn't tell me nothing, man. I was like, whoa, I better enjoy this while it lasts.
Absolutely. It's incredible the people that you've been able to work with. I mean, the list, I had to pull out my phone because I wrote it down. I didn't realize that there were just so many artists that you worked with. Aretha Franklin, Shaka Khan, Roberta Flack, Wayne Shorter, Eric Clapton, Grover Washington Jr.
Woo, that's true, ain't it?
Yeah. That's
when you hear him in a list, you know.
That's
but the way it worked was that when Luther's first record hit, Never Too Much, he told the interviewers that Aretha Franklin was one of his heroes. So Clive Davis called Luther and said, would you like to produce her? And Luther called me up and said, we need a song for Aretha Franklin, right? And so I wrote a little track and gave it to Luther, and he wrote the melody and the words, and we had a hit. It was called Jump to It. Jump, jump, jump to it, right? So that's how the Aretha thing happened. And then, you know, Aretha fell in love with Luther and his band. She didn't like to fly, so we would have to all go to Detroit to record her records. And we recorded at the old Motown studios, the original. It's just a little house, you know, but the living room got turned into a studio. But it was incredible because on the walls, they still have like a schedule of the day back in the 60s. It said 11 to 2, Temptations, 3 to 7, Supremes. You know, it was like, it's incredible. But anyway, I got to work with Aretha that way. Shaka Khan.
Tell us about that one.
She's a musician. She plays the drums. People don't know.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so she would come to the club in New York and kick the drummer off the drums and play the drums. So one day, I was home and the phone rang, and the piano player said, "This is Paul. Listen, man, we're on a Shaka Khan record date right now, and the bass player has not shown up. I'll be there in 20 minutes." And man, I just got there as fast as I could. And the music, everybody was sitting in their seats. ready to play. Shaka was in the vocal booth, ready to go, and they were just waiting on me. And the music was there. I said, man, I better play this thing right the first time. And it was a song called Naughty from her album Naughty. And I played it, man, and got out with no problems. And that was the beginning of my relationship with her. Her younger brother, Mark Stevens, we had a band together called Jamaica Boys.
Did you?
Yeah, so we ended up being like family. So she's incredible.
Yeah, he was incredible. He sang behind her for a number of years, right?
Yes.
I was watching something on YouTube not too long ago. I think it was, I don't remember what it was, like 1981 or something like that.
Yeah.
And
Talented.
incredible.
Yeah.
What's some of the most memorable experiences you've had with any of these artists that I just listed there? There's so many. You have,
man.
there's any stories that stand out for you?
Oh, there's a lot of them. You know, let's see. With Miles, you know, he used to talk to me during the concert, like with his back to the audience. And his voice was real raspy, so I could never understand anything he was saying. And at first I thought maybe I'm doing something wrong, but he was just having conversations. So he'd be like, "How you like my shoes?" I'm like, "Oh, those are some nice shoes, man. And then what size you wear? I can get my wife to get you a pair, you know?" And his wife, by the way, was Cicely Tyson, right? So I'm tripping, man. Like, Al Jarreau was one of the most beautiful human beings you ever met. And you can tell from the way he sang, right? Because a lot of these great artists, if you really listen carefully to their music, then you really already know who they are, because their soul comes right through the music. And Al Jarreau, man, he was just beautiful, man. He didn't wake up until 4 p.m. every day. He was a night owl, like a real night owl.
Wow.
I don't know how he ever got money out the bank back in the day. But man, he'd be up all hours of the night. So Joe Sample, Al Jarreau, and I, you know, we had to write some music for a new Al Jarreau album. And so Joe's the opposite. Joe would get up at like 5:30 in the morning, and Joe lived on a mountain in a place called Mammoth. It's a ski area in California. And we stayed at Joe's house to write this music. So I'm caught in the middle, because Joe's making me get up in the morning, and you know, he's skiing. You know, I'm skiing behind Joe, trying not to kill myself, right? And then Al stayed up all night, and I'm trying to hang out with Al, so I was the middleman, you know. But we got a lot of nice music written. The album was called Tenderness. Tenderness, a beautiful album. If you haven't heard it, check out Al Jarreau's Tenderness. Joe Sample on the piano, and David Sanborn on the saxophone, and Al Jarreau's beautiful album. Loved Al Jarreau, just a beautiful human being.
You've worked with a lot of vocalists. How have you been able to connect with them?
I was a studio musician in New York. That means you just go from studio to studio playing bass for whoever needs bass. You read the music and go on to the next session. Luther was a studio vocalist. Luther used to sing background for